All right. Well, my guest has not showed up yet. It's a little early there in Singapore. And so we're going to go ahead and get the show on the road, do a little Q&A. And if she shows up, then we will run it down and talk to her about the custody solution that they're providing over there in Singapore, and maybe some of the digital assets that they are, providing custody for. We, Digital Ascension Group, we have a custody service here in the U.S. With Standard Custody and Trust, which was recently acquired by Ripple, pending the NYDFS approval. I wish they would just go ahead and get that done. But anyway, yeah, so if you do have at least $100,000 in digital assets, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Matic, Avalanche, Chainlink, and then DeFi protocols, we can help you custody your digital assets with $50 million worth of insurance and all of the other wonderful things that comes along with that. Go ahead and run it up in the chat here. Appreciate Michael for becoming a member. I would love for you guys to join the Mastermind. It's Beyond Broke Mastermind right there. I actually just got a whole bunch of mugs in the other day to give all of the Carbon One members. We've got an event coming up, and hopefully everybody that attends that will be able to receive the mug along with free drinks and the other things we do. So excited for that. Am repping the R3 swag. They were nice enough. Here you go. Oh, if I turn it around, there you go. Here's the, Vanna White. I don't even know what to call that. Thermos that they sent along with the hoodies. Shout out to Jeff Cooperstein, who's our contact over there that we work with. Working with R3 to build some things. And so they were nice enough to send us some swag. Figured I'd rep it on the show. Shout out to them and all that they're doing in this space. A lot of things that I think will come to light, over the next 6 months here. People will know who R3 is if you don't already know who R3 is. So Eddie says, what's up? All ready for another amazing show. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys running up in the chat here, spending some time with me on a Monday night. I know you could be sleeping or spending time with your family, and it's appreciated that you guys are here with me. So, like I said, unfortunately, our guest seems to be a little late. It's early there in Singapore, and they did not respond. I think it was pretty late when we got them the link to this deal. So hopefully they figure it out and pop in here. And if that's the case, we'll pull them up and run things down. So we'll go ahead and get into some questions. We've got this one's good. This is really a question. It's more of a statement. Tired of XRP fudsters everywhere. The hate of XRP is at an all-time high. Crypto Airy, Crypto Karen. Oh, dude. Utility Maximus, that's the best nickname I've seen for Crypto Airy. Hating on XRP in the army. I'm here for some positive vibes on my top investment. Happy to give it to you. Happy to provide those positive vibes in a time where you're right. There's a lot of FUD going on in the space. A lot of people, I'll run this one down because this was a question in the Mastermind the other day. People are concerned, the SEC has asked for $2 billion in damages from Ripple. I don't even know where they came up with that. We sit on Ripple's cap table, and we did get an email from Brad Garlinghouse. He basically broke down 900 million for this, 200 million for that, 900 million for something else. I think it's a bunch of fugazi. There's no way that they get awarded that for this lawsuit. I mean, what damages are there, right? Like who lost money? Okay, so maybe they did sell unregistered securities. Okay, I could go for that in the beginning, right? They were fined by FinCEN, and then they moved it over to XRP2, and then continued selling XRP to institutional and accredited investors. other enterprises doing deals that way. They still do that, and those people sell onto the market, and that's how us retail people are able to acquire some XRP, which I'm happy about. I'm not complaining about that. Another thing he pointed out in the email was the highest fine that's ever been paid in a similar case for non-registration of securities was $50 million in damages, and there were actual damages associated with that. And so I don't think that they're going to get awarded anywhere near that. But let's say the judge wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and something goes haywire, and they are awarded $1 billion in fines. People are concerned that Ripple would have to liquidate XRP in order to cover those. And for that amount, they probably would. But they're selling XRP every single month anyway. So, and I've never made any bones about that. There's a lot of people that complain that Ripple sells XRP. They're holding price stability. They have an escrow, just like any good fiduciary would that was trying to stabilize price for payments to liquidate onto the market through other providers. They sell to other people that liquidate onto the market. They have $1 billion that comes unlocked every single month out of escrow, and that's where it goes. And whatever's not used or needed, they roll back up in escrow. So I don't make any bones about that. I'm not bearish on XRP because of it. I'm actually more bullish on XRP because there is proper capital management of things, and there is a way to expand the supply over time and add more volume and throughput to the network as things scale, and put more XRP onto the market to be able to facilitate the value that need to be moved as things progress. So again, people are upset about that, but if you did want something to be adopted at a global scale, you need a continual stream of supply coming onto the market to be able to facilitate new demand in different use cases, tokenization of real world assets. We've got all those things coming to the ledger now that we have smart contracts, hooks, and potentially Codius. R3 has Corda, which is interoperable with the XRPL, settles through XRP. Has the capability to settle through XRP. I know people are going to ream me for saying it already does. But anyway, we'll go ahead and I'm sure there's probably some other good questions here. I think it's pretty sweet. They were nice enough to, like I said, give me the swag, R3. So let's see here. Severe weather where I'm at. We don't have it yet. It's supposed to rain here at like 1 a.m. in Texas. I'm in East Texas, Northeast Texas. So no big deal. This will be over long before I get any rain or any problems. And I got fiber now, so shouldn't be any interruptions in service like there have been in the past, which is nice. Let's see. We got here we go. Lori, this is a guy here in the picture. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to call him 311 at the end of it. He said, what are some things that will roll out from R3 this year? I have NDAs, so be careful what I say. I'll talk about things that they really haven't discussed with me, right? So we've got NDAs that pertain to our project that we're developing with them, and the other things are kind of said in confidence. But I'll speak to some of the conversation that was had previous to signing up the NDA, and then also things that you can go just look up publicly. So if you want to Google Project Ion, I don't know that it'll be this year, but R3 did develop that with the DTCC. DTCC did purchase Securrency last year. Was able to chat with Patrick Campos late last week. He was the chief strategy officer for Securrency. He's now a private consultant, good friend of Jake Clayton. And anyway, I think there's a potential that that's already running in tandem with the clearinghouse and the back end settlement for the stock market. We'll see when and if that does get rolled out at scale. But that's the type of stuff that R3 develops and works with. If you go onto Crunchbase, again, public domain, you can go check it out and look who's invested in R3. You can see that it was the majority of the large investment banks that were on the seed round for R3. And they've had one round since then. It was a smaller fund that was in on that. We've, through the Mastermind, we run, private deals. We have looked on the market for R3 equity. It's not currently available. We do know some employees that just recently left to do some different things. And so it's a possibility that we might be able to chat with them and see if they'd be willing to sell some of the equity that they have or options from the time that they were there. That's how you get a lot of the private equity that comes on the secondary market. It's going to be through employees that have stock options or have vested their equity and are looking for some liquidity. Sometimes it is the funds or early investors looking to sell a portion to recover some capital or provide liquidity to their investors. Those are the circumstances in which you could see some private equity for these types of firms come onto the market. But there's only been 2 rounds for this. I believe the firm was formed in 2017, so it's 6 years old. I can say that working with them has been very professional, high level, enterprise grade execution and team. So very, very pleased with working with them. But yeah, I'll drop this. There's only like 68 people on here watching. So sneak peek for you guys. When we first chatted with them, they mentioned, they were excited about what we were looking to do because it's a multi-billion-dollar market, which seems large, but they said that they had already done the majority of the markets that were larger than that, and they're looking to move downstream now. So whatever that means to you for the different software and enterprise adoption of digital assets, distributed ledger technology, smart contracts, and all that functionality for financial products and ecosystems, it's probably what it means. So that's what I would expect to roll out from R3 over the next 3 years here. Good question, by the way. Let's see. XRP Junkie says, I can no longer distinguish FUD from shills. Erie and Panos both say ODL utility will do nothing for price. Thoughts? I don't think they understand how these things work. Volume on the mainnet that settles through the mainnet would absolutely drive price. ODL, not necessarily, right? So the AMMs, I think that'll be a pretty significant boost in price for the XRPL. On-demand liquidity is currently being used in nascent corridors, right? So basically the purpose of on-demand liquidity is banks don't necessarily want to hold a counterparty's currency in an Nostro-Vostro account, and they're able to access that liquidity that they need to be able to send payments in those jurisdictions by utilizing XRP. So they will take a loan in XRP from Ripple. They'll convert it to whatever currency through Uphold that they want to settle in the other side on. They'll send that payment. They owe that back to Ripple in 7 days with some interest, whatever that ends up being. It could be the Turkish lira, Zimbabwe, Argentina, a lot of these third world countries that Turkey's not really third world, but their currency has been hyperinflating, right? So anybody that's holding their value there is just going to basically evaporate. So banks don't want to do that. They don't want to hold a currency that's going to lose value rapidly over time and waste capital. They want to be as efficient as possible with their capital and their investments. So in doing so, they would utilize ODL and be able to settle into those corridors. That's not a ton of volume, though. The real volume and value will come from back-end settlement of the stock market. We've got, well, I don't know what time it is in the UK. They're 5 hours ahead of me until their daylight savings changes. So they are, it's 2:20 there. They go live tomorrow for full implementation of the ISO standard and supposedly instant settlement for chips and the settlement of their clearinghouse. So we'll see if that has actually, any impact on price or not. They rolled that out between November last year and now. The implementation is complete. Their stock market was actually closed today for Easter Monday there in the UK. So we'll see, as they wake up tomorrow and the market's open, if they're going to utilize XRP to settle any of those transactions for instant settlement through SEPA, Target 2, and all the other things that they've rolled out, CHAPS. They are looking to regulate stablecoins and basically instant settlement on the 8th, same day as the eclipse. A lot of things lining up here for early April, where we will actually get regulation and hopefully some implementation of some of these digital assets for settlement, which will garner more volume for the network. But that's really what's going to drive prices. Institutional adoption, where you're settling payments across borders. SEPA is the system that Tranglo, which is a Ripple partner, built out and integrated the instant settlement and ISO standard in the UK and the broader EU. And SEPA settles between the 31 different countries in the EU using I don't know if it'll use the digital pound or not, but speculate that they will. It went live, I think maybe a week and a half ago, for the instant settlement between cross-border within that jurisdiction. Target 2 is the system that they use for international payments outside of the EU and that ecosystem to settle. So they're more progressive than, not any other jurisdiction. Dubai is very progressive, Singapore, Japan. We've got some pretty significant things happening with Japan. The yen is devaluing very quickly against the dollar, even in the face of them raising rates. And we'll see what actually ends up shaking out there. Shimori, it's very nice to see you on here. I will be at Jetson Capital in Dallas, and I look forward to seeing you there. So Jordan Hutchinson is a good friend of mine. He puts on family office events, and if you're in the club, you get invited to those. And excited to be at that one here in Dallas in April. Hopefully we'll see you, you and Jesse. Yeah, shit, man, it's late. I need to get back to you guys. We have to hash some things out. So anyway, it's nice to see you on here, and I'll follow up with you. What do we got here? I sent the rain over there to West Australia, or West Austin. Sorry, not Australia. Jeez. Let's see here. It's coming up this way. So, like I said, I don't think it gets to where I'm at for another hour, or at least till 1 a.m. So we'll continue to run it down. She's posted a good link here for the DTCC settlements for assets. Appreciate you sharing that. This is the R3 jumper. People that know, like I said. Micro payments. This is a good question. There's a couple different networks that I think could facilitate micro payments at scale. XLM being one of the main ones. The majority of what I've seen for integrations with merchants and enterprise applications has been Hyperledger BOSU. We talked with Man, I'm having a hard time tonight. Mark, it's not Yusko. Anyway, another gentleman who was talking about, he works for Bain & Co. Anyway, he explained that the majority of the people that they were working with were also integrating with Hyperledger Bosu for, B2B payments, like small B2B payments, as well as the retail payments that they would be receiving from their consumers or clients that they were working with. I think as we get the rollout of stable coins here in the U.S., we've seen some things from Congress here just in the last 24 hours. Circle has made some statements that they believe that the U.S. should be a leader when it comes to stablecoin regulation, and basically weed out bad actors that are utilizing or backing their stablecoin with a one-to-one peg to the dollar. And if they're not doing things in a compliant way with AML KYC, then maybe they should come after those people. I think that they will. I think that they will sanction Tether. I've been saying that for a little bit here. And I think that's going to have some pretty significant implications on the market. The Dow Jones has reached out to full extension, similar to how it did in the 1929 crash. And I don't know. That doesn't bode well. You need an expansion in credit and the money supply and lending and liquidity for the bull market to continue. I don't mean to be a bear, but I'm hesitant to believe that we continue in the euphoria with the Lana meme coins and all the other stuff that's transpiring. I think that we're probably going to get a black swan or something not so good. If Japan does deleverage and starts to liquidate U.S. treasuries, it's going to have some serious implications for geopolitical tensions and then also broader financial markets. The dollar. Tether is the 6th or 7th largest holder for U.S. treasuries, and now I believe they're actually the 7th largest holder for Bitcoin. They just acquired some more over the last month here to shore up their position and expand that. So, I'm with you, Fredo. Credit event is coming. I didn't talk about the micropayment, so we'll go back to that. I get on these tangents. I apologize. So XLM, Hyperledger Bosu, the integration of that with merchants. And that's the other reason I don't think XLM will ever get past like $1,000 a piece. I could be wrong. Could go way past that. I think that's, still a crazy return from where we're at. But you got to have 4 decimal places to the right of the decimal, down to the thousandth of a penny to be able to transmit micropayments. So let's say you're streaming Netflix and you're sending micropayments while you're streaming instead of paying the subscription. I think people might opt for that. Marsha, Jake is an XRP maxi, not financial advice. I don't look. I'm not a maxi. Okay, just be transparent. I am in it for ROI. So my 3 constraints that I normally have for investment, I'll run them down for you. And I'm not a financial advisor. This is just mine. 1, ROI, real returns. So it has to do better than inflation. Whatever that number is, my investment needs to do better than inflation. Number 2, it needs to cash flow. Okay. I've foregone that in this situation, but I think that the cash flow that'll be on the other side of this will be so substantial that it's worth it. And the last piece is I need to be able to take leverage against it to be able to rehypothecate that value somewhere else at a fair interest rate so that I can put it to work somewhere else that generates a higher return, right? So borrow against it, no taxes, redeploy that capital somewhere else. My belief, we'll see if I'm right or not, is that XRP ends up regulated as a tier 1 asset in the banking system. Central bankers don't seem to be leaning that way for Bitcoin, but I mean, we got the ETF and we've got other things now. So maybe that changes. Maybe that ends up being, a tier 1 asset. If either one of those are, then you'd be able to take loans against them at a very fair interest rate. And they would be premium collateral that people would need to basically participate in the derivatives market. So anyway, and I think you'll be able to deploy it into an AMM or delegate that liquidity to an AMM and be able to earn a pretty significant yield, or be able to lend it out for other people to transmit payments, similar to what Ripple does with ODO. So those are my thoughts on it, and I'm willing to forego some of that in the short term here because I think the ROI when it does go will be so substantial that it's worth it. If you could show me something else that had better potential for ROI and the other two things right now, I would definitely be up for it. Lots of good questions here. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about micropayments, I keep getting sidetracked. HBAR is another thing, another network, Hedera hash graph that I think will facilitate micropayments at scale. It's very secure. There's high throughput. They're actually domiciled. Their corporate office is here in Dallas with me. And I don't know them, have not worked with them, but I like their network and what they're building. I think the majority of dApps probably for Web3 applications and metaverse probably end up built out on Hedera, or at least are interoperable when the time comes with Hedera Hashgraph. And you look at the people that are on their council, you've got Google, you've got Dell, you've got IBM, you've got banks. There's just a lot of momentum behind them, and the council that they've built. And I like the way that it's built out like a DAO. You're only allowed to sit on the council for 2 terms of 3 years apiece, and then no longer. So Google's already in for, I think, 2 years at this point. So they only have 4 more years that they can sit on the council. But then they could do Alphabet or YouTube or like one of their other subsidiaries, or maybe the parent company could sit on the council instead of Google itself, right? So I think you could probably play the musical chairs game that way and sit on the council a little bit longer. But Boeing was the other one, and SoftBank. There's a lot of big players that are integrated and sit on Hedera's council. And I think, as things continue to grow and scale, they'll be one of the dominant networks in the future. This is all right, Mr. X. Interesting question here he's posed. He says, please settle a debate. 10K to invest, whole life index or iTrust. I'm just going to tell you what I would do. This is not financial advice. Take it or leave it. Take it with a grain of salt. I have biases. Okay. Whole life index. You might be able to get exposure to GBTC, and if you're in Europe, well, you're not going to be able to use whole life as a financial product in Europe. So you're here in the US. Or iTrust Capital. Are you looking for like the tax advantages? Why wouldn't you just keep them as non-qualified funds and buy the XRP directly, or whatever you're investing in directly with the 10K? I don't know why it needs to be through a whole life index or an IUL or in iTrust Capital. I really wouldn't even, and it also depends on your age. So if you do have an IRA, if you're, I don't want to put a hard and fast rule on it. There's circumstances where it makes sense. The tax advantages if you are a business owner doing a carryback and investing in an IRA, and then same year you can get some pretty good tax deductions. I'm filing an extension on my taxes so that I can take advantage of that for my wife and I, and my son. Later in the year, we'll be able to fund those retirement accounts last year and this year and write all that off. They can be effective tools, but it depends on the situation. If you're less than 55, I don't know why you would be investing. If I just had the 10K in my hands, I wouldn't do either one of these things, just personally. I would just invest directly and keep them non-qualified funds. But and then I would, these would be tools I would use after price appreciation on things. So, but if I had to choose one or the other, I'd probably put it in iTrust just currently. I'm concerned about the stock market. I think that we have a pretty significant downturn here in the short term, and then we get another bull cycle for another decade here as we implement blockchain, smart contracts, AI, all the other technologies that are converging at once. I think we're going to get another pretty significant bull run, and you'll have liquidity pour back in, especially if the AMMs go live on the XRPL and they're used at scale in financial infrastructure, like I'm hoping. Then there's a lot of liquidity and everybody's happy and we'll take off again. Just here, like next week, I'm pretty concerned about traditional financial markets. So I wouldn't do the whole life indexed. I would wait for the bottom if I was going to do it that way. And then on iTrust, I'd get it into whatever digital assets you thought were going to perform well. The problem with an IRA is you can't take leverage against the assets there. So if they're staked and they're earning income and those go to a separate account, you can take leverage against these separate, whatever profits are earned or interest is paid, but you can't take leverage against the initial investment or whatever you hold. So it encumbers your ability to do that. There's some tax advantages. If it's a Roth, okay, I can see that, right? Peter Thiel has a $5 billion Roth IRA that he can't take leverage against. Mind you, he's not old enough to take the distributions without penalty or taxes. So, and that's why I say like 55 or older, yeah, double down, man. Knock it out on your contributions. You get 75 a year. You can do back a year on this year. You can do 15,000 in a Roth IRA, and you know that this stuff's going to do really well over the next 4 years. And then you're 59 and you retire and you can take distributions with no fees. That sounds like a winning scenario to me. But if you're younger than that, if you got the 10K in your hand, I wouldn't. Just me though. Hopefully that was helpful. I know that was like a lot of me rambling, but hopefully it gave you some context around both types of investments and why you might, just the considerations around them. Let's see here. John says, did you speak with the gentleman transitioning your accounts to Ripple from PolySign? Any PolySign updates? My account rep that I was working with at PolySign just took another job and started today. We text back and forth. I'll follow up with him. They are still working and waiting on the NYDFS. That's really where we're at. PolySign's been chopped up 3 ways. 2 ways. So MG Stover went to Boathouse to settle that disagreement that occurred there that became very public and scared a lot of people. I wasn't overly concerned. Again, the accounts are bankruptcy remote. Not ever going to have a problem. They're always insured. Even if, the custodian, Standard Custody and Trust went bankrupt, another trust bank, BNY Mellon, wink, wink, probably steps in and takes over those accounts and makes sure that they're managed correctly. They're bankruptcy remote. They have no way to collect those funds or use them to pay off creditors. It's basically the world's most secure cold wallet that's in existence. So wasn't really worried about that. But so MG Stover, which was the majority of PolySign's revenue over the last year after the acquisition was made, has gone to Boathouse. And then Ripple made the acquisition of Standard Custody and Trust and is licensing the IP from PolySign. So that's generating revenue for them. They've got a decent contract on that, but I think that will end long term. But the one that people don't talk about is AtomicNet. I'll have to find the patent. But I found a patent that is related to AtomicNet that's got 355 other patents that refer to that patent, all filed by large financial institutions. That patent is actually abandoned, which allows other people to basically roll it into their patents. Some of the people that you might know that have filed patents that refer to that patent would be Bank of America, tons of them by USAA, like a lot. Citibank, Goldman, BNY, JP Morgan, Ripple, BNY Mellon, like the list goes on and on and on for all the people that referred to that patent in their technology and patents that they had patented for DLT and smart contracts and the capabilities that they were developing. So that tells me that they're integrated and they're going to be used at scale, probably to replace the clearinghouse, is my guess. We've got the DTCC that bought the currency, and I think we'll end up tokenizing stocks, but you don't really need the clearinghouse if you have actual smart contracts at scale that settle things real time with atomic settlement with zero counterparty risk. You don't need a clearinghouse. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how long that takes. It's probably 2 or 3 years away. It's kind of my expectation on that. But that's really and if you want to go check out the white paper on AtomicNet, it's atomicnet.world is the website. And you'll see it's PolySign and everything there. You'll be able to read the white paper and kind of get a gist of what it does. So that's my update. So no news. Waiting for NYDFS approval of the acquisition of Standard Custody by Ripple. CJ says, when XRP ETF? Well, there's already been one filed. It was a fake ETF, iShares, BlackRock ETF back in November last year. It has been removed, and the DOJ is investigating who filed that patent and forged 7 signatures that would have been required in order to get that signed and put through of high-level executives at BlackRock. It's very unlikely that it was forged, but I digress. When do we get that? I think whenever it needs to happen. I think that there will come a time where liquidity needs to pour into XRP in order to move the price to be able to facilitate some things at scale. Maybe there's a credit event or a liquidity crisis, and maybe that's what saves the day. If they, just happen to have that sitting there, and the SEC passes the S1, and they can move all the liquidity from the other ETFs and different assets into XRP all at once. Hyper adoption is kind of my theory. We'll see. We do have an ETP in Europe that you can get access to if you're on the London Stock Exchange. My expectation for the ETF, I'll make a bold prediction. I think we get an XRP ETF before we see an Ethereum ETF. So you heard it here. And you can hold me to it, and if I'm wrong, I'll say I was wrong. Oh, yeah, this was good. So Scott says, gold spiked yesterday from no news. Any speculation on why or what caused that? People are moving to risk off because they see these scary signs that liquidity is drying up and we're about to have a significant pull down in risk on assets. I don't know how to impress upon you some of the scary stuff that's coming down the pike. I know that people seem euphoric right now about Bitcoin and Solana and a lot of this stuff. And in stocks, they think it's just going to pump forever to the moon. I don't think so. The reverse repo is drying up. It's under 600 billion. The Fed cut off liquidity on the 11th. And so those are reserves that they're posting with them for returns overnight. That's the reverse repo. The repo market's done. They're not lending to banks. So banks are needing liquidity. They're posting collateral with the Fed overnight in order to be able to float things. And that's becoming less and less and less. They're becoming more and more constricted. And you're seeing bankruptcies start to skyrocket in the U.S., Canada. There's the housing prices have fallen off a cliff at the fastest. It's like a rate of drop. If you look at that chart, Game of Trades, if you guys don't follow that account on Twitter, they put out great just different charts and graphs about the economy. I follow about 40 different economists, and people that keep a pretty good eye and pulse on the markets and geopolitical events and all that stuff in order to develop my thesis and where I think we're at. And I think we're on the precipice of a major collapse, which is why I'm positioned where I'm positioned, because I think it's what ends up saving the day. So, not financial advice. You do you, but that's my thesis. And I have biases. Take it with a grain of salt. Abel, thank you, Jake, for your show. Do you think XRP can hit double digits this year? Thank you. It all depends on volume on the network and adoption. It's very unlikely that we'll see a speculative bull run to $10. You might be able to get it back to like $2.50 if we had a speculative bull run just by retail pouring in on it. There's just a ton of supply. You need institutional adoption at scale for it to see those types of numbers. And I think it'll blow right past 2 digits if that happens. So it's either one or the other. It's either 1 digit or less or 3 digits, in my opinion. So I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear or not, but that's my 2 cents. Utility Maximus. What are a few benefits of joining the Brown Brook Mastermind? Good question. Yeah, so good community people, really proud of the culture there. I don't know if you've ever been a part of a mastermind. So generally, the premise of a mastermind is that you're able to get access to information and knowledge and be able to move faster, right? You're able to accomplish more because you can cut through the shit. You don't have to make the mistakes. So we have a lot of professionals in there that have done just that. They either run 7, 8, 9-figure businesses. They're professionals in whatever vertical they're working in, CPAs, accountants. We've got people in energy. We've got people in tech. We've got people in the medical field. Lots of different resources in there. We have on the website, if you're looking to start your own business, we help you with some of the resources we have for that. And then the financial education, we have, I get on here and do these once or twice a week, but we have those twice a week in the Mastermind. Carbon 2, we have a separate kind of little powwow on Sundays between myself and other business owners that are running, again, those 7, 8, 9-figure businesses, looking to exit in the next 3 to 4 years on most of those. And so that's kind of the general premise behind it. We do run private deals, right? So get access to private equity, even if you're not accredited. We run 506Bs, and so people that we already have a pre-existing business relationship and we qualify as sophisticated because they have access to business resources and the financial education that we provide there. We feel that meets the criteria and they're able to participate on the deals that we run in the group. So that's my pitch. I think it's pretty good. I've been part of a lot of different masterminds. I've paid $5,000, $10,000 to be part of groups of people. And I try to, bring as much value as I've gotten from those groups to this one for $100 a month. Like, it's a no-brainer in my opinion, but everybody has their own. And so if you want to come check it out, we would love to have you. The only qualification currently is you friend me on LinkedIn and get in there, and you're able to get private deal flow and access to the conversations and the other professionals that are there. So, hey, very cool. From Brazil. What do you think of Verge XVG? One of the most recent ISO 22022, almost 40% since last year, undervalued. I think anything that's going to be utilized in the financial infrastructure and is compliant with that messaging standard to be able to facilitate settlement or smart contracts or other components, even if they're niche within financial markets, will probably be adopted at scale and probably gain market share and value as utility moves in. I don't know about Verge. I haven't done enough due diligence on it to tell you that it is ISO compliant. or will be integrated in any capacity. It's not something that I'm aware of, but that's not to say it isn't either. I have lots of blind spots, and I know that. And so, it might be a very good opportunity, but I don't know enough to speak on it. So, but I appreciate you bringing it up, and it's cool to see that you're in here from Brazil. Matty G, what's up, man? Oh, appreciate you hopping on the chat as always. He says, wife and I want to explore our options moving forward, such as an LLC or holding company, custody, etc. Which do you recommend, joining Carbon One Mastermind or 30-minute call with you? You're going to get all your answers, in the Mastermind group. Honestly, like for the value, probably the Mastermind. There's FAQs in there. You get access to all the links. Like you can ask questions. People have had LLCs and been through all the stuff and set up their operating agreements. And that's the other benefit, right? Like a lot of these people have already been through that process. Some of them have set up their trusts, digital asset protection trust. Some of them have other types of trusts, living trusts for, their assets, their home, their car, their gold, their family heirlooms. Some of them have gun trusts and other things. But you can get in there and ask questions and people will run it down for you very easily. You probably get as much value as you would from a call from me. I've spent a year and a half just talking with people in that group and on Twitter and in other forums. And the people that are there have listened to all that, and through osmosis of me saying it enough, figured it out. I always like to provide, the three different ways, right? So I like to just give people the information for free. If you want to do it, more power to you. I think that's great. And some people are like that. It's probably like 2 to 5% of people that'll just strike out on their own and take information and act and do it. We do the done with you model, right? Which, I would say the majority of people want that. And then there's a portion of the population that'll pay for done for you. They don't even want to handle it. They don't want to know how it's done. They just want you to do it. I like always offering all three. So anyway, the LLC itself, we'll follow that. So you get the EIN, articles of incorporation. We walk you through how to set up a bank account. You get a virtual office through us, the address that way. You get the operating agreement and template that is specific to the holding company for your digital assets. And all that's for $800. If you went to an attorney, that would cost you about $2,500 to $3,000 for all those things. So try to make it easily affordable and give the most value that I can for what we've been able to put together. The trusts, a lot more than that. We work with some of the best trust attorneys in the nation for digital assets, and they are not cheap. Their time is well worth it. They're tenured and have the experience and do a very good job. But again, they're not cheap. So that's more on the family office side that we work with them. So yeah, if I had to pick between one or the other, but I don't know you, right? You seem like a sharp guy. You're on here pretty often, and you're taking notice. So maybe try the Mastermind group, probably get all of your questions answered there. And if you don't, like I said, I do these on Saturdays and Mondays in there, and you can just ask me the questions then. I'll answer them for you in front of everybody, unless you got specifics about how much you have and all that. Then you probably want to schedule a consult. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. Back to the beginning again. We'll go down here to the bottom. Everybody always asking about XRP, which I'm okay with. I like talking about XRP. In your opinion, will they set a price floor for XRP? So it's not like they set a price floor. It's not like they just choose a price and revalue XRP. They've got to move enough liquidity into the asset through maybe an ETF, right? They've got to pour it in there. Once there's enough liquidity on the mainnet to be able to settle the transactions that are moving on these private networks that Ripple is set up or R3 set up, Swift needs in order to be able to settle things. They're interoperable, right? They're really only going to settle through one asset. So they can choose RippleNet or R3, and they're both compatible with the XRPL to settle real time. And if it's got the most liquidity in it. When that takes place, that's going to be the easiest thing to sell through. So anyway, I digress. As different portions of the economy come on chain, and Ripple's mission is all the money, right? So they're starting with cross-border payments. That's the biggest pain point, and then moving. I think that's kind of a foregone conclusion at this point. I think they do too, and that's why they're pivoting to tokenization of real-world assets. They're like, okay, we know we got payments. That's on lock. Let's go to the next thing. They acquired the institutional custodian with the trust license in New York, which is standard custody. And people are like, oh, well, they have Medico. Why would they do that? You need the licenses in order to be able to actually provide that service to people. And Medico really deals more with payments in the infrastructure for banks to hold digital assets and stable coins and basically create governance. They have a product called Harmonize that they use, where above certain thresholds, people have to sign off on things. You can set certain limits on payments for accounts before there's secondary authorization or two-factor authentication, or all the compliance stuff. It's a programmatic way for smart contracts to facilitate that, is what Harmonize is. Standard custody has a custody protocol, which we use, and it was primarily built for tokenized securities and other financial products being tokenized to be held there, and then be able to escrow those, provide insurance against them, hold them in segregated accounts, on and on, right? So you got payments, and then you got tokenized financial products. Those are kind of the differences between, Medico for payments and standard custody for the licenses and tokenized financial products. Anyway, so as different ecosystems or financial products or payment channels move on chain, those will set price floors, right? So there's enough volume on a daily basis that's going to be moving across the network that sets a certain price for XRP that's being used to facilitate those transactions. And then there'll be steps up as more things are brought on the network. That's my opinion. I don't think that there's like a price that they've just stated, this is what it's going to be, and we're going to move it there, and it's going to stay at that level for forever. I think, again, they'll continue to need to expand the use case over time. It has to be dynamic. It can't be a static price. That's why it can't be pegged to gold or pegged to something else. I know a lot of other people have speculated about that, but you can't expand. You'd have to revalue gold every single time. And I think that they'll have other commodities that are brought on chain, like oil. You're about to see a significant rise in the price of oil and gold, both at the same time. So, these are risk-off assets, by the way. You're already seeing them start to run. I don't know how much longer risk-on is going to last. Anyway, so CJ, hopefully that was helpful for you. I don't think they'll set a price floor. I think it'll actually be volume of payments moving across the network. So just as an example, the back end of the UK stock market settles 1.9 trillion per day. If they were to move to instant settlement tomorrow and implement XRP to settle all those payments, depending on how much XRP was used to be able to facilitate those payments, you can do the math on what the price would be. So let's say they had 1.9 billion XRP to settle 1.9 trillion in transactions. It'd be $1,000 a piece. I'm not saying that's what it goes to. I'm just saying, that's the math. And you can use the same XRP 10 times a day. Okay. If you use Robbie Mitchnick's calculator, he is head of digital assets at the Federal, at BlackRock. Michael Barr is the head of the Fed. He was also at Ripple. Funny how they've just moved people in place. Anyway, and he actually just removed his time at Ripple on his LinkedIn, which is sketchy to me. I don't know why he would do that. Maybe it's, they will launch an XRP ETF and he doesn't want to show that he has favoritism over Ethereum. It's my speculation. But I think that there'll be different financial systems that move on chain, and that's what will set the price floors for XRP as it progresses over time. Really good questions, by the way. Appreciate you guys, again, taking time out on a Monday night. We've already been on about an hour. I'll probably hang out maybe another 30 minutes here and run some questions down. Mighty Tone says, do you have a schedule for the yearly maintenance costs, registered agent, etc. if we use you to set up an LLC? Yeah, it's like $210. So as long as you have less than 20 million in assets under management within the company, it's $60 a year in Wyoming to maintain an LLC. That's the state cost. The registered agent's another 150, so 210. I'm not trying to make money on that. I'm just trying to provide a service and make it easy for people. You actually get an email from the state asking you to pay those fees, and the registered agent's the same way. We just set you up and you're able to make payment. I'm trying to skim it off the top. We do have clients that we do, all of that for. Like I said, a done for you deal. That's $50,000 a year. If you want the white glove, we have the white glove, but it is not cheap. Let's see here. Jared says, okay, I have the LLC and I have a bank account. Uphold didn't accept it. Caleb and Brown, nope. Coinbase wants $1,000, and I don't even know what that means if I'm accepted or not. Message me. Just shoot me an email, info@digitalfamilyoffice.io, and I'll get you connected with the head of institutional at Uphold, Bob, who can help you. And then also I can get you in touch with the head of institutional at Kraken also. Both of those are OTC desks, and they can get you set up with your LLC. I don't think that it'll be a problem. And that's the other benefit of working with our firm. I have direct connections with the people. I know them. We hang out. We go. Anyway, so happy to make those introductions for you. And if anybody else wants that, just again, email me, info@digitalfamilyoffice.io, and we can get you those contacts as you need them to be able to set up accounts to be able to liquidate if you do choose to do so. It's weird to me Caleb and Brown would have rejected you. In the process, you have to be clicking something that's triggering that. I don't know what it is, but just saying. This is a good question. Who can I talk to? I'm from Canada about moving forward after the boom. Aaron Grinhaus is our go-to up there. He sits like the head of the board for digital professionals, Web3 professionals there in Canada. He deals with all the different CPAs, accountants, estate planners. He's an estate planner himself. We've got an agreement with him to be able to help you Canadians, it's not funny, set up stuff down in the Caymans or in Bermuda, down in the Bahamas, down in that direction. When the time comes, Canada is not very favorable for taxation, and so tends to be people's choice to snowbird down there to down south and get things set up in that jurisdiction where taxes are a bit more favorable. And he's my guy. So if you want his information, if you're from Canada, you listen to this, just email info@digitalfamilyoffice.io and we'll get you hooked up. Hey, very cool. Good morning in Ireland. It's 3 a.m. there, 4 a.m. there, pretty early. Appreciate you hopping on. Let's see here. Here we go. Atlantic Living says, Jake, I was listening to an influencer and he said because of the sheer value of XRP, we will need to be forced to sell it to no one longer own it. Atlantic Living, there's a lot of FUD out there. Here's the real deal. I'm going to run it down for you guys. There's like 5.2 million wallets. Not that many, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Okay, let's say 5.2 million people all had one wallet. I've like 13 or 14 wallets. Okay, just from stuff that I've set up over time, and I'm sure a lot of people on here are the same way. You've got some wallets that you funded. Maybe it's at Exodus or Atomic or some Zum wallets or whatever else that you don't hold a portion of your assets. Maybe just the amount that you need to keep the wallet open is all you hold there. There's really not that many people that hold XRP. There's been a lot of people that have just been fudded out over the years, bought it and sold it, had some on an exchange, sold it. There might be 100,000 people on the planet that have more than 3,000 XRP. Full stop. Like, that's it. If a couple people get rich off this deal, and most of those people are going to liquidate. Let's say we did see a 3-figure XRP, okay? Even a 2-digit XRP. People are selling. They're sending it to the exchange. They're offboarding. They got their mill. They're out. They're happy. Cool. They're not going to need to do much to get the majority of the people that hold this asset to sell it and convert to fiat. It'll be fine. There might, like 3 to 5 years from now, there might be 20,000 people that own more than 10,000 XRP. Almost guaranteed on that. Be very few people at that point. And there might be an option that exchanges put out or institutions put out or other people put out in order to buy it from you over spot. You have gold price, and then you have whatever the premium is that you're willing to pay or sell for over spot. It might be double the amount of the current trading price for XRP that they're willing to buy it from you for, which might be, depending on your cost basis and tax implications and other considerations that you might have, it might be the way you want to go. I don't knock anybody for selling. You need to do whatever it is that's going to be best for you and your family, and to, make sure that you get the future that you want. Hopefully you've got a large position. You don't have to sell all of it. There's a lot of people I know that have taken profits along the way, sold. I'll give you an example. And I gave this the other night when I was on here. I'll just say his name because I like him and I think he's a sharp guy. Mando, if you guys don't follow him, I met him in Dubai, and he's an influencer. And he bought Solana, like went balls deep on Solana when FTX collapsed, okay? And bought a lot of Solana at like $7 and $9. He didn't have to worry about taxes because, again, he's there in Dubai and he's from the UK originally. So he when it got to like $35, he sold 30% of his bag and bought 2 condos there in Dubai. And when I talked to him, he said, when it gets to $100, I'm going to sell another 30 or 40% and buy 4 condos. And then the rest of it's just going to ride. And so I don't know how much money that dude's made on Solana at this point. I'm hoping that he's taking profits right now. Maybe he rolled it into meme coins. Probably did. The he understands the degen. He's the best degen dude I've ever met, I think. But he also takes profits and then puts it into real world assets that bring cash flow, right? He understands the game. Like, make the money here and then deploy it into real investments to hedge, because we're going to have another retracement. Solana is not going to continue to maintain the craziness that's ensued over there on that network. I don't know if you guys seen the degen names that are on these meme coins. I'm impressed with how degen that network has gone. Not my cup of tea. I have no want or need to participate in that ecosystem. I made somebody very angry not too long ago, telling them there would never be any enterprise applications developed on Solana because of the downtime and the latency and the problems with the network. They did not like that. We did not see eye to eye. I'm not a crypto bro. I'm on the financial, professional, institutional side of this deal. And I'm already there. Like, that's how I think. That's how I think things are going to play out. And while all this other stuff's going on, it's just, I see the end game, right? And so that's what I'm positioned for. And I'm willing to forego all of the craziness and just sit on my hands and wait for that side to play out. And then we'll be good. I've got everything set up on the other side of that to be able to borrow, lend, do all the other cool things that a lot of people want to do with institutional custody. We're building out products. We're tokenizing other things. Again, R3, you see me in the hoodie. Like, you don't get the stuff unless you're working with them. So anyway, I'm excited for that. That's what I geek out on, and all the degen stuff. I'm kind of excited for that to go away, really, because I think it casts a shadow on the space. The maturity is not there for real institutions to adopt it, and I think people are eking out the last little bit of that here before we do get, professional, institutional, enterprise adoption. Cambrian explosion is what Chris Larson calls it. So, and I don't think that's very far off, like a couple weeks ish. Let's see here. Technically, no one could force you to sell. That's right. But again, you're never going to go broke taking profits. I will say that. You just be aware of the tax implications involved with that. Hey, Carl. Appreciate you, Carl. If you guys need any benefits or insurance, Carl Von Schwartz here in the chat. Go check him out. He's good people. I've known Carl probably longer than almost anybody else in the ecosystem that I could still deal with and talk to. I don't really talk to many people from high school or people that I knew growing up. Kind of left the majority of that group behind, but Carl's stuck around. He's good people, sharp. We have a line of interest. And if, like I said, if you need insurance benefits for your company, he's my guy. And he's here in North Texas too. Let's see here. What does this say? Scotty J says, "I'll be eating cat food and standing on a food line before I sell mine." You do what you got to do, man. I know a lot of people have sacrificed a lot of things to aggregate the bags that they have. I'm sure there were people that forewent stuff to buy Bitcoin and Solana and a lot of the other things that have panned out. I think the XRP Army in particular has been the most patient of any group in digital assets. We've had to endure the most, FUD the most, people laughing. We've played the fool for a long time. Interesting, it's April Fool's Day. I think we'll have our day in the sun though. So it doesn't matter. It only matters who laughs last, I guess is the saying, right? Utility Maximus says, "I'm so glad I found your channel. No hype, just great info and vibe. Don't plan on selling an XRP for years. It's just surprising how short-sighted people are." Absolutely. I don't know how old you are. I've got a long time horizon. Okay, I'm early 30s, and I'm not going to retire tomorrow. I plan on, when this actually happens and it kicks off, that's when the work starts for me. I've been working hard up until this point, but that's really when things are going to kind of snowball. I'm trying to scale up and make sure that we're prepared to be able to onboard people and provide the value that I know we're capable of when the time comes for that. And so, anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I have a position that I would like to take profit on here in the short term, just to handle some things. I think that's most people. I've had over 500 consults with people that hold XRP and other X assets and different cryptos, which has been cool. People have reached out to me for all kinds of stuff to put together a game plan or position themselves, set up an LLC or a trust to make sure that when things do inevitably pan out, they're able to take profits and then invest those in an intelligent way to make sure that they maintain their wealth long term. We've got, let's say you didn't do any of that. We've still got solutions for you. We have PPLI, which is private placement life insurance. We work with the best firm in the nation for that. And really proud of that product. If you've got over 5 million, that's kind of the minimum threshold that we need in order to be able to set that product up. We put a life insurance wrapper around your digital assets, and we can still do all the fun stuff with them. Borrow, lend, stake, earn income, all that stuff. You can borrow in kind or in cash. and it grows in there tax-free, and it passes to your estate tax-free. Insurance products here in the U.S. are very, very different than the rest of the world, and it's a good and a bad thing, right? I was for a long time I was a proponent of separating your financial instruments and investments from your investment products or your life insurance. For a long time, I just had term life and had the investments completely separate. Whole life is kind of a scam, and universal index life can be a scam. Just want to say that it's a tool, can be used in certain circumstances. It's very lucrative for the people that are selling it to you most of the time. So just be aware of that when somebody is touting universal index life as like the go-to solution. You want to make sure that you have a fixed rate policy when you're talking to that person. It's not going to be a variable rate. The problem is if there's a significant downturn in the market and it's a variable rate, the premiums can be adjusted, right? So if the insurance firms have significant losses over a 1 or 2 year period, they can hike your rates up. And if you can't make those monthly payments, or if you're not paying in advance, like a lot of the business owners that I work with have a bunch of cash at the end of the year, and we'll just fund the policy with a lump sum and we write it off because it's key employee insurance, and then we roll it after about 5 years into another product. That can be an effective way to do it if you are getting the tax benefit and you're able to draw a line of credit against it. But if they're going to eat up the premium that you originally put in because they've raised the rates and you can't make the payments, and so they take it from there, like they'll tell you it's a zero, like you can't lose money in this, but you can definitely lose money in it. If they're losing money, you're going to lose money. If they're making money, then you'll be fine as long as the markets are good. But they do cap you on the upside too. So most of the time, if you get a fixed rate, they'll probably bring that down some. I know that the majority of them are somewhere between like 12 and 15% on the cap for the IUL. And so like if you have a year like 2020, when there's 22% gains in the S&P, you actually miss out on somewhere between 9 and 7% or 7 to 9% of the upside in the market by having your money in that. So it's a tool. All these things are tools. Just educate yourself on them and make sure that you're and this is what I do. This is what our firm does. We sit as a guide and somebody that has your best interest. We obviously have professionals that we work with that make money by selling these products and helping you set things up. But we always make sure that the client's interests come first, right? That's our job, is to make sure that you don't get rugged or scammed or sold anything that you don't need. We provide a board seat in your family office is what we do in order to make sure that, those things aren't happening, even for the people that we recommend you to. Like I said, they make a living selling these products and solutions. And sometimes they are like, hey, we can do this. And if you don't know any better, then you don't know any better. That's why it's good to have somebody, a mentor or somebody on your board or somebody else that's familiar with all of the potential issues that could crop up or conflicts of interest. Yeah, here we go. Here's Carl. Like I said, if you got insurance, if you need benefits, he's my guy. He's good people. I know he'll take good care of you if you need any of those things. Utility access. Okay, well, that kind of changes. I don't remember if you were the one that asked about the iTrust account. But that changes my opinion on the iTrust account. I would definitely fund the iTrust account with the XRP if you're 58 years old. Or, not necessarily just XRP, but like digital assets in particular that you thought were going to do well. I trust and also Bitcoin IRA. I'm excited for them to kind of upgrade their. I'm spoilt with standard custody. I'll just be real with you guys. So they use digital trust as their custodian. They hold your digital assets on a ledger in a level 4 facility. So there's armed guards and cameras and all the kit and caboodle, right? But a person actually goes in there at 4:00 and submits the transactions on your behalf. So let's say you traded a bunch of stuff in your account. They just rebalance at the end of the day. And that is the cool part about an IRA is you can trade tax-free inside the account and rack it up. But it's not real-time trading because there's a person that goes in there and sees your keys and keys it in and sends the crypto and does the stuff. So not my fave. I like, standard custody and their protocol through PolySign because nobody ever sees your keys. They're sharded and held across HSMs or hardware security modules in those level 4 facilities. And the quorum, once it's met, pulls those things back together, executes a transaction, reshards them, and sends them back out when you're not transacting. So again, I'm spoiled. I'm used to that. Happens in 5 to 12 minutes most of the time. I've had it take up to an hour, but that's still faster than any other institution I've talked to. They quote hours every single time for a transaction in a cold wallet, whereas we can do it in like less than 10 minutes. So pretty cool. Let's see here. Kelly, good question here. He says, is it possible that a DAO can oversee an LLC and an asset protection trust? I know why you're asking this, and the answer is yes, Kelly. We are working on creating a DAO model that's specific to a family office or a management company that sets things up in a programmatic fashion. It's a ways off. It's a couple years away, probably. You're going to have a little bit more regulation on DAOs. Wyoming's the best jurisdiction for that. So you're already ahead of the game there. But yeah, Rustin, who's my head estate planner, and myself, Rustin Deal, if you guys want to go do some digging, he's written articles for Bloomberg and Forbes on setting up, digital asset protection trusts in different jurisdictions, domestic and international. Has a doctorate in tax mitigation. He specializes in digital assets like myself. So yeah, we're looking to basically create a scalable solution that is a DAO that's a family office that you can compartmentalize, put things together, and order things a la carte. It's already put together, and you basically have the code base. You slap it on there, and now you added that to your family office, and you have these constraints that you program governance around. But like I said, it's probably, if I'm being real, 2 or 3 years away. Some of these networks are going to have to mature, and the integrations are going to have to mature. The regulation's going to have to mature. Yeah, the other cool thing about family office in particular, I'll say, so let's say you did have a DAO model. You'd have a voting, maybe even have your own token associated with the DAO. You would have voting rights. A lot of times when families scale out and they are involved with the family's assets, fights happen over the family's assets, which, what a wonderful problem to have, that you have a Learjet and a yacht and these other fun toys, and one part of the family wants to use it and another part of the family wants to use it on the same weekend, and they get to fight over that, right? First world problems. So to manage that, we can have a voting system in the DAO, and you can basically, bid your tokens for a certain time to be able to utilize one of the instruments or toys that the family owns. And then the highest bidder gets it, right? But then you forego maybe future votes on something else. So anyway, basically gamifying it and creating solutions that resolve conflicts before they happen within a family office. But good question, Kelly. Always appreciate your insights and hopping on here. I hope you and the wife are doing well. Good people out there in California. Sunny state. Let's see here. Thanks, dude. Your speech conveys confidence and knowledge for XRP holders. This mental focus is essential. Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, appreciate you joining from Brazil, brother. I'll say this is pretty cool. So in the Mastermind group, we do have people from all over the world. We've got people from Japan, the UK, Australia, Singapore, Canada, the US, Brazil. It's crazy to me that, like I said, there's probably 100,000 people on the planet that have a decent, what I consider a decent, more than 3,000. So like, $2,000 invested in XRP. It's really not that many people, and they're all over the world. Obviously, a lot of them are here in the U.S. And probably have a little bit more access, but that's been restricted because of the lawsuit. So UK, we have people in there from the UK as well. And like I said, I've done my best to try to find professionals, all across the globe that I feel are competent and capable that we're able to share as resources people. So either email me or hop the Mastermind. Happy to help you guys. I did see. I think what I saw was a super chat. We'll scroll down here and check it out. We already did this one for my tone. We get all the way down here to the bottom. Decent. Yeah. I like Decent over Ledger. I like the interface better. I like the biometric. I like that it holds more assets. I like that you can trade on it. I like that maybe it doesn't have a backdoor that they can get your stuff from. A lot of things I like about Decent over Ledger personally, but I know a lot of people do still use Ledger. So if it's there, like I don't think you need to move it. But if you're looking for a cold wallet that does have, you can hold NFTs, like pretty much anything you want, you can hold on Decent, and that's the reason I like it. This is a good question. GSX Gaming says, do you think rates will be going up as we approach elections or down? Well, definitely down. They need to increase liquidity. Otherwise, we're going to have defaults and markets are going to collapse. And during an election year, to have that happen is not so good for somebody that's looking to get reelected for a second term. So does Trump move into Speaker of the House? Maybe. Does Biden and the whole thing come apart and Trump get back in before the election? Maybe. I have no clue. I really don't care who's in the office, to be honest with you. I'm going to succeed either way. It's not going to matter to me. Winners win. So it's just you understand the dynamics that are playing out with whoever's in office, and you make changes accordingly to make sure that your business and the people that you're working with are taken care of. So, but I do think rates will fall. I think that the Fed will pivot. I think that Japan will cause that. I think that that'll be their excuse. If you guys listen to Michael Gade on Twitter, another great economist that I follow, got a meeting with him next week after I get back from New York, and excited for that one. He's a CFA, certified financial analyst, and he's been screaming, like annoying at the amount of screaming that he's been doing for the credit event and Japan and their reverse carry trade, that they could cause some pretty significant issues for the U.S., which I think will happen here pretty shortly. I think that's probably what gold is actually telling people, and same thing with oil. People are moving to risk off because there's going to be some serious implications for currencies and for the stock market and bonds. So commodities would, aside from specific digital assets, I think commodities will do well as well. And I know everybody's been holding out for gold and silver for a long time. Here's a good question. Milton says, hey, Jake, will you suggest to open an LLC or Dubai company to cash out crypto? Depends on where you're domiciled, Milton. If you're in the UK, the Dubai is a fantastic jurisdiction for people that live in the UK to set up a corporation or a company there and be able to subvert some of the taxes there in the UK. You will have to be, domiciled in Dubai for a period of time. Probably have to get a golden visa in order to do that. You're going to need to buy at least $800,000 worth of real estate there. So a nice condo over there in Dubai would do it, get you a golden visa, and you'll live there and work. I was there at the end of February, early March, and I really like Dubai, but I'm used to the heat. I've lived in Texas my whole life. So if it's 100 degrees, 110, 120, I'm used to those crazy things. They did say that it's gotten to like 140 there in the summer. Not interested in that. I probably don't want to be there while it's that hot, but it is very nice. The only thing I would say is it's kind of like synthetic feeling. You could tell that they built everything very quickly. Not that it's like haphazard. It's very quality. It's just new. And the other thing I would say is like the wildlife or whatever existed there on the beaches. So this is what did it for me. I got in the ocean. We went there for swell. And when we were there, like I've been to lots of beaches over my lifetime, been really blessed to do that. And you go to the beach and you'll see the crabs and the shells and like mussels in the sand, and there's some fish in the water, and there's always like some seaweed or something, right? None of that. Like as sterile, picturesque as you could possibly get on the beach there in Dubai. And they dredge the sand up from the bottom and pump it up on the beach. And the water's super salty also. Like you just float along. I normally sink. I was floating along. Anyway, so that's the only thing I would say about Dubai. I really like it though. It's the safest place I've ever been to. Like my family was very concerned about me going to the Middle East and how horrible it could be over there. Dubai is by far the safest place I've ever been. Like seeing one cop the whole time I was there, and they were helping somebody that was broke down on the side of the road. You could leave your phone somewhere and come back in an hour and pick it right back up. Nobody's going to steal it. And I don't know if that's because everybody there has means and money. It's not true. There's some people there that don't. There weren't any homeless people. I didn't see that. But Sharia law is pretty strict, and if you're doing anything you're not supposed to be doing, they cut that out real quick. So everybody has fun. Everybody does what they want to do and what they need to do. As long as nobody's in trouble and nobody's getting hurt, cool. Anyway, I love the vibe there. I like to travel there. I'll be going back, and could definitely see you doing business there as well. Probably going to wrap it up here in just a minute. Take a couple more questions. Michael Rose with the Faraday bag for your wallet. Look, I don't think there's going to be an EMP or all this craziness that people talk about. I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'll lose all my crypto. I think that's overkill personally. But I also have my stuff in institutional custody. So, and before that, it wasn't wrapped in tinfoil in a Faraday bag. I've never really thought that we were going to a Mad Max scenario. They can't let that happen, right? Like, there's a lot of 10 days of darkness and all these other things. Like, don't listen to all the crazies. Like, I'm crazy. I am crazy. Probably you guys are too, a little bit. If to be here, you have to be a little out there. But there's people that are way off the deep end and get a little bit consumed by this stuff. But I will say this, and I told somebody else this the other day. In order to be a genius, you have to be able to tolerate madness, right? And a lot of people get sucked into down rabbit holes and they don't come back out. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think a lot of people are waking up to things that they didn't see before, which I think is a good thing, and trying to help, wake other people up to some of the things that have played out that really haven't been good over the last decades. But just be leery of that. Don't. And if you think that your stuff's safer in a Faraday bag, more power to you, brother. I just saw this and wanted to make the comment. But I don't think there's going to be an EMP or any of that. I think that we're about to roll into institutional custody. I think all these banks are about to roll that out here in Q2. And you'll have insurance on your stuff and be able to hold them there, and there won't be any problems. So I think, the OGs like us that held stuff on cold wallets probably be a thing of the past in a couple of years. Let's see here. Neurotic nurse. I am. I'm crazy. And I know that, right? But I'm proud of that. You have to be a little on the edge to be in this space and be progressive and understand where things are going. if you don't have. So this is what crazy means to me. It means you can see things other people can't. Sometimes that's dead people or whatever else. But for me, if you're crazy, it means that you can see things that other people can't see. And in order to be ahead of the curve, oftentimes you're considered crazy. Other people won't be able to see what you see. And that's okay. That's not meant for them to see. Otherwise, they would be able to see it too. So you have to be willing to put up with some ridicule and criticism in order to get to, all the people that were successful in tech and a lot of these other endeavors that you know, love, like, use today were considered crazy when they first brought them up to people. And they're billionaires now. So again, who had the last laugh? That's what I always look at. All right. Well, go ahead and wrap it up here. Neurotic Nurse says, I can't wait for institutional. I don't like sleeping under the stairs during a hurricane, freaking out over my cold wallets getting damaged or blown away. Yeah, I'm with you. It's nice to have things held in an institution, custodied, where you know that they're safe. You got the insurance on them, and there's no problems. Morbid, but everybody's going to pass away. And if you can make sure that your beneficiaries are going to get the benefit of your fruits of labor, then you want to be able to do that, right? With a cold wallet, unless they're tech savvy and they understand how to use the keys and what to do and how to use an exchange, and they've been in crypto, or you've got a crypto buddy that you've written into your will that hopefully won't screw your family over. You don't know. With institutional custody, you know that person's going to be listed on that account. They're going to get access to those things. They're going to have help, and there's not going to be any problems for the beneficiaries and how you want them to be taken care of with your digital assets. So the benefit there. And I will touch on this one before we sign off here. Can you hide gains from Taxman using Monero? You can't even transact in Zcash or Monero in Dubai. You will go to jail. They are illegal in that jurisdiction. And I'm concerned that that's probably going to happen globally. When they usher in stablecoin regulation and other regulation, I think there's going to be provisions in there that prohibit the capability to transact in privacy coins. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a libertarian myself. I would like it if the government just kept their nose out of my business, but I don't think that's going to be the way things work out, unfortunately. So they want oversight, they want purview. As long as it's not overdone, I think that's okay. I don't want them to be able to detect illicit transactions and problems and terrorist activity if those things are going on. But at the same time, I don't want them digging into all my stuff for no reason. So just my 2 cents on it. But go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. Running up the chat, asking really good questions. We'll be back again Wednesday night this week, maybe with an interview, maybe not. My person did not show up this evening, unfortunately. So we'll have to figure out what that looks like to get her back on and talk about the custody that she provides there in Singapore. But until then, I hope you'll have a wonderful week, and we will see y'all on the next one.